Hello everyone, welcome to this Voiceflow tutorial. In this video and upcoming videos, we're going to be exploring the Voiceflow platform for building AI chatbots with no code. Over the course of these set of videos, I'll be taking us through how to interact with most of the Voiceflow components and blocks, right? And we will be very comfortable by the end of this tutorial series on how to, basically create various types of chatbots depending on what we want or what we need. Voiceflow is a very awesome platform, right? And it makes design of chatbots very easy and really quick, right? So in case you want to get into AI or you want to get into creating chatbots and you don't know how to code or something like that, I mean, this tutorial I think is perfect for you. Yeah, so let's begin. So first of all, we come to the Voiceflow website. That's voiceflow.com. You sign up or you sign in, right? Or you can get started for free, right? So Voiceflow allows you to have a 7-day free access, right? It used to be, completely free before, but at least you had a free tier right before, but I think they've scrapped that now. So but I still think it's worth using in case this is something you really want to do, or to like have a business or something, right? It's a tool that I believe is quite innovative, and we can do a lot with. So the first thing we'll be doing, the first chatbot we'll be building for this tutorial series, is the restaurant feedback AI. So what this does is that think of it like you've gone to a restaurant and you're done eating, and you are required, or it's requested of you to give feedback on what you have of your experience within the restaurant, right? So this is a simple, right? It's a simple scenario, but these are the kinds of things that would help us start to understand how the Voiceflow platform actually works, right? So that's basically the idea of these tutorials. It's not to go into any crazy, complicated system, right? Is to build out simple systems, but also touching a lot of the important components, right, within Voiceflow, so you're very comfortable building chatbots. So so the way this would work, let me show my design for you guys. So here's the design for the chatbot. We expect that the chatbot is able to ask these questions like, what is your name, what is your rating, what comments do you have, right, to give a comment regarding the food, or rate the food, or rate the restaurant, or whatever, right? Now that's all well and good. The next thing you want is to be able to take that information and store it somewhere, right? So in this tutorial we will, and I think the next tutorial as well, we will be storing our information on Google Sheets, right? And there is no direct connection between Voiceflow and Google Sheets, right? So but Voiceflow has something called an API step. That API step is able to send information from Voiceflow to anywhere that accepts API responses. We'll get to see, in case you don't know what an API is or what an API response is, we'll get to see that along the line. Then the application that allows us to connect to a Google Sheets via API is something called Sheets.best, right? It's like a website, So what we just basically need to do is to employ the Voiceflow API step to transfer all this information we've gathered via the Sheetbest API to the Google Sheets that we want. I think that's right. That's simple enough explanation, right? So without much ado, let's get into it. So the next step now, or the first step we will take, would be to connect our Sheetbest API to our Google Sheets. So I'll show you how that is done now. So you move over to app.sheetbest.com, right? Then you click on sign in with Google, or if you don't have an account, I think you should see something like sign up. If you see sign in with Google, no problem. Just, keep going, and I think you should get like a confirmation email as usual, right? Just confirm that, and you can start. So you click create a connection, right? Now look at what it's asking us for the name. So let's give this connection a name. So it's for maybe a feedback, right? It's for feedback, so you can just call this feedback connection, right? You can call it anything you want, really. Now it's asking you for what source, so you can have a Google Drive, Google Sheets, or you can upload a file, right? So what you want, we have Google spreadsheets already, so we just need the connection URL. So now the connection URL is, let's come here to our Google Sheet, right? So you can see I've created a Google Sheet already called ratings. Now ratings contains the following columns: name, rating, comment, timestamp, right? You can have way more columns here, but this is just to keep things simple, right? And it's obviously, it maps directly to the questions we want to ask. Okay, so now we have this. Now we need to get the connection URL to this ratings sheet. So we'll come over here to the top right and click share. Share. Now you need to make sure that the access for this sheet is anyone with the link. That's one. And also make sure that this is not on viewer. Make sure it is on editor. The reason why is because you're going to be writing information to this sheet because you want your users to be able to give you feedback, right? And you want to record that feedback. So that feedback will be written on this sheet. So that's why you need to give editor access. So you copy this link and you can hit done. Now we can proceed to Sheetbest, right? And then paste that URL here. Right, so now that we've done that, we can hit connect. Okay, great. So we have our feedback connection created, right? So now we can hit details. You can see the connection URL. You can see this is the API URL that we're going to be using. So using this URL, we're going to be writing information to our ratings Google Sheets. Now we can easily test this, right? We can test this right now to be sure that it works fine. And let me show you how that is done. So the way we can test this a number of ways, but the quickest and easiest way that I can think of is using the command line of your laptop. So you can just come here and type CMD. Right, hit enter, and then you should see a window that looks like this. Let me just drag that over. Right, so now the way we would do this is to so you type out the following, right? Please make sure you type it out properly. I'll show you two ways to do this. So first way is using CMD. Second way is using an application called Postman. Right, so I'll show you how that works. So you just copy and paste the following code. Now that we've written out the code, let me just quickly explain briefly. So curl is just a command, right? Basically telling it to execute some action, right? So the action you're trying to execute is the post action. So to post something to the Google Sheets, right? And we now have the API link, this API link right here. We have it here. Then we have a header, content type, application JSON. So what that means is that we're trying to send information in a particular format. The name of the format is called JSON. So let me show you how JSON looks. So this is how JSON actually looks. So you can see it has a curly brace, then it has a key and a value, key and a value, key and a value, right? So you can have as many key and values as you want, and they're all separated by commas. So that's basically what JSON is in a nutshell, right? And if you look at this application JSON, and then you see -d, that's representing data. What data are you trying to send? It's basically the same thing. You can see name or the jar data. Okay, here it says email, so we can just change this to rate. Oh, sorry. I think I'll have to go back this way. So let me just edit that. So after making that edit, you can see name, rating, feedback, right? It's exactly the same thing, same information we're passing in here. The reason for the backslashes is because this is a command line, right? So this is not like, you know, this is basically the way you have to write it in command line, right? So yeah, so if I hit enter now, so it returns the information I just sent. But if I go to my rating sheet now, I should be able to see the information there, right? So you can see the data rating is 4, comment. I guess for some reason it didn't send a comment, and timestamp. At least it works, right? So, but this is not our primary way of sending the information, so we shouldn't be too bothered by that. The other way you can test it is using Postman, and I have already pulled up my Postman. So let's just see how that is. So you can see here that I have added the link, right? Our API link that links to our Google Sheet. We have the following information that we want to send. Remember, it's JSON, right? So basically Postman is just an application that people use to test APIs generally. So if you're going to send information as JSON, don't forget, come to body and then hit raw, right? You need to select raw from here and then click JSON, right, as the information you need to send, right? And then you enter your values in key value pairing like I explained earlier. So when I hit send now, it should populate this sheet. So I hit send. So you can see it says 200 OK, and then returns the information I sent, and then you can see it has populated our sheet, right? So that is how you know that this link actually works. Now let's move over to Voiceflow finally, right? So now when you want to start a new project, you just hit new project, right? Nothing too special. So we can just give this a name. So I can just say restaurant feedback demo, right? And then create project. So the first thing you will see when you start your project is that you will see the start button and this. So Voiceflow already gives you like a template for a chatbot, which is a customer support chatbot, but we don't need that, right? So we'll be building our things from scratch. So we can just basically delete this. I hit the delete key on my keyboard, right? And then you can hit this downward arrow to minimize this window here, right? And then we have more than enough space to do our building, right? So I think we have done more than enough. That's the end for the setup, right? Thank you very much for following and for, you know, watching this video. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.